Episode 51 in the house.
That felt weird.
Felt weird?
That felt weird to me. We are talking
or
about...
Or are you weird?
I'm so weird. I just get very awkward. Today on the episode, we are talking about just reflecting back on episode 51 and talking a little bit about our love languages.
And things that have happened recently in our lives through the podcast.
And
tune in.
Perfect. Welcome to the Mizell Show.
An inspiration for a new generation.
Hi, I'm Alanna Mizell, a loving mother of two, a devoted wife to Steven, and an entrepreneur helping women realize their dreams and potential.
And I'm Steven Mizell, caring father of two, a devoted husband to Alanna, and a driving force to help young men prepare for life after college football.
And if that wasn't enough, we're a biracial couple.
She was raised in the North, but I was raised in the South.
The only thing normal about our lives, who am I kidding? It's never normal around here. Join us for the Mizell Show.
Right now. We are back on the Mizell Show, and this is episode 51.
51, baby.
We dropped 50 a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So, I don't even know if anybody noticed, but last week we didn't drop an episode. And for our family, we have noticed, I would say over the last year, kind of through our podcast and kind of balancing out work. And we've talked about it a little bit, just that it's okay to miss a week with the podcast if that means that we are focusing on our individual mental health. So that's why we missed last week.
Yeah, that's something that I think, people so many times hide behind the post or the updates, and they are afraid to tell people what happened. It's afraid, like, oh my God, if we miss this week, we're going to lose. Yeah. Well, if we lose some people listening because we missed a week, you weren't real. You were, what do you call a fake follower, or what do you call it, Instagram?
A Finsta? That's having a fake Instagram.
No, what's it like? You like a follow train, or people
yeah. So absolutely, but it also gave Steven and I both time to kind of reflect over that we've been doing this for a year now.
We've been doing it for a year.
Wild.
It's wild. It's done 50, and it's so many things that you think back over, like how we got to this point. Like I don't even know why we even. Okay, so we started doing the Instagram lives.
We started doing Instagram lives during COVID, and a couple of people kept saying, why don't y'all do podcasts? And we're like, because it's easier to listen to podcasts than to watch an IGTV, especially now.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of blossomed. But what I didn't realize through the last year is how much clarity the podcast would give me.
Ooh.
In that being able to articulate what I'm going through to a microphone and to you, I feel like it's almost a couples therapy for you and I.
I think it is. I think it's a couples therapy. I do agree with you. You got clarity, and I almost got a sense of peace. Because when we're behind this mic and we're able just to talk and enjoy each other, we've had some episodes that were like, yes. We've had episodes like, man, we really just made that work. Yes, Alanna is drinking coffee for the 51st episode. She's always drinking. But she's
out of my Santa mug.
Santa mug. You have a Santa mug. I think you have to show people your Santa mug.
That sounds so good. I can't wait to hear that back. That was a good ho-ho-ho.
That was a good ho-ho-ho.
Okay.
But yeah, I got peace. I got peace out of this because we were able to talk through some things, and you guys hear it, but we actually have had some tough conversations on this podcast that you might not have realized it was a tough conversation for them.
Like for us to, like what?
I gotta listen to all the episodes again.
No,
I think just some of our realizations,
what has given you, is there a specific example through the podcast that has given you peace?
I think it's given us peace because we've had a place to communicate and share our experiences and not hide behind them.
So you're saying more so an opportunity for you to vocalize what's going on in your head.
In our lives. Yeah, I think so, because I feel up until 2 years now, I'm not going to say we've been living a fake life, but we've been living a life that has been wanting to portray something that we want people to see.
Yeah, and I think that that's why taking last week off was so important to me, is because so many outside influences see us as motivated, outgoing, blah, 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 like go, 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 go. And we are, but we've adapted in our go, go, go.
Yeah.
Through the podcast. It's almost better than our IGTVs, because when we were on Instagram, we saw comments coming in.
And it got you excited to get you.
You guys, we'll be so honest. Very rarely have we gone through to look at the numbers of who's seen it.
And that's something that we talk about. Like, when we first started this whole podcast thing, like, I love my wife. She's the love of my life. But, man, we hit it, like, on 1,000. Like, who's going to break down who's going to edit? Who's going to, like, check the numbers? Who's going to...
Yeah, I went straight into entrepreneurial business mind.
Yeah.
And that was never the point. That was never the point to what we were doing. And so through time and through growth and realizing we don't need to drive, and I personally don't need to drive the engagement. I don't need to look at comments. I don't need to look at how many people are viewing it. And I think that that's what brought us peace.
Yes.
Is that
it has taught us peace. Yeah.
Just doing it because we love it. Not because somebody's going to listen to it.
And we're wanting to figure out how it could help us do X, Y, Z. Because when we first started this, we're like, oh, if we do this. And we started looking at other power couples who were doing it and how they were monetizing. It's like, but we're not doing this for that. And I think one of our biggest growth periods was when we took 3 weeks off. We had a lot going on.
We did,
We were mentally drained. We were... going through a job transformation, and we just said we can't do it.
And I was not in a point to where I could articulate what we were going through at all.
Yeah, but when we first started this, it was like we have to post 5 times a week. We can't miss a week. But now we are growing together, and we are, like I said, I think the whole peace thing is like it's okay to show the humanity, because I feel like me and you, I know me. I have lived such a rat race so much in terms of doing things, because if I do this person or this job will notice me, then it gives me the connection I need to be able to get X, Y, Z. And now I'm truly just enjoying this and enjoying where I am.
So here's what else I think is that exactly what you just said. So you mentioned how it's been a rat race. And I think for your job change, you didn't know that you needed the rat race to stop. But I also think that through the podcast, it's twofold. I think that this is almost like a virtual diary for us.
Yeah.
In that you're writing what you're thinking. We're coming up with topics because we enjoy them without affirmation from somebody else.
Yeah.
And so it's an authentic passion because it's what you and I actually care about.
Yeah.
And it's not we're getting more viewers because we're talking about interracial marriage.
Yeah. You're right.
Which is what I look at.
Yeah.
I look at why my Instagram is doing what it's doing, what the analytics are saying. Well, that's going to make you crazy. And then on top of that, I think that's taught me, as I'm looking for a job now, is to look for something that no matter how many times I talk about it, I'm authentically excited. It's not about how much change I can really make, because I believe that if the authenticity comes behind it, the change will happen. And same with why people follow me on Instagram to talk about interracial marriage, or talk about anxiety and depression. I never set out to make it a influencer platform. No,
and that's the genuineness about it, because just this past week, we won't say any names, but I think this past week we're waking up and I'm at it doing the morning thing with the kiddos, and Alanna comes in the bedroom, and Alana's just sitting there. I'm like, man, what's going on? She's like, I got a text message from a friend that just said she needed my help, and you worked through the whole guilt piece, but if you were never authentically open on your social, I don't know if this friend would have texted you the vulnerability piece of it.
No, I literally had somebody text me and say, I've hit rock bottom. I don't know what to do. And I'm just like, wow. And so then my follow-up questions for her was, okay, when was the last time you took care of yourself?
So,
her response was never. Never.
Yeah.
So
until someone asks you that, sometimes you have to take a step back, like, oh, I have never.
And you wonder why you're hitting rock bottom, because you're giving so much for everybody else, and that's the definition of what we're talking about with our podcast in episode 51. Is that this was probably one of the first things for you and I that we didn't do to get anything from anybody else. And
I would say this: we might have started, but thanks to God's grace and our life that happened, it's now grown into it. Because I know when we first started, we were hustling to try to think, how can we make this? But now it has turned into something that we don't want anything out of it. Like, we are authentically excited. And a piece of this that I have also got from it, that I will get a text message here and there from a family member or a friend. It's like, I truly enjoy your podcast, not so much for what you guys are saying, i.e. it's good, but just hearing you guys' voice and you guys' life, because so many times we get into the rat race of friends and family and we don't check up on people, and we think just because we scrolled up and saw they bought a house, oh, they must be doing good, you keep it moving. But I've gotten, a few messages from good friends that are like not in our lives right now because they are, other places, but they tune in because they just want to know what's going on. And they hear us, the random offs from what's going on with Briggs and not sleeping, or the one-offs with Adele and school and your job search and me changing careers. And authentically, if you're not in our bubble in Memphis, you might not know these things, but listening to this, you're like, oh, this is what they have going on. I can pray for this, or I can hear them. It's like a virtual check-in for
And so Steven just mentioned how if you're not in Memphis, you kind of don't know. And I think that really ties well with what happened this last week with young Dolph, in that he was shot and killed.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize is who he is behind the mic.
Yeah.
And essentially that's what we're saying, is that for us, this mic showed us who we could be.
True.
And for him, he was still performing at that mic.
Yeah.
But really, so he was shot and killed in a cookie store.
In a cookie store in Memphis.
That's local to Memphis.
This past week,
A renowned cookie store. They make fabulous butter cookies. Anyway, on top of that, he actually had a truck full of turkeys that he was going to be delivering to his community.
His community on Friday with some of his other artists. Yep.
Right. Just his community. And explain to everybody what his community is like.
I mean, his community is a community in South Memphis. He went to Hamilton High School, and his community is a community that struggles. I mean, you have some people there that are working, good jobs, but it's a constant battle, a constant struggle to maybe get out of that area. Mm-hmm. And it's an area that a lot of people in Memphis who want to see it be revitalized, but just hasn't bubbled up, quote unquote, to the top to be a point of emphasis. But he was one that used his skill set and used his personality and his knowledge of what people were dealing with to be able to monetize and give back to the community.
Yeah.
I don't know his complete backstory. I have friends that probably do, but he had a significant other. He had 2 kids that I know he gave back to and treated well, and were, again, in my opinion, he treated well. And so I will say
there for them.
He was there for them. And I would say this.
In his community can be hard to do.
Yeah.
Because of his community. So North Memphis and Hamilton High School.
South Memphis.
Sorry, South Memphis. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Ooh,
that's battle.
Yes.
That's battle.
It's okay. It's okay.
Right
it's South
but
Memphis,
Hamilton High School, I would say, it's one of the lower, not the lowest, economic status in Memphis.
It's one of the lowest, but the key with that school is that it has such a rich history.
It does.
My mom graduated from that high school back in the day, so they try and they have a culture. But
their reunion threw down.
My mom's reunions, and
it's like 4 days.
It's a 4-day reunion. But no, you're right. It's one of those areas that it's not the highest economic, but you have a sense of community and family that's trying.
So to kind of paint the picture for people that aren't from Memphis, it is a traditional Black culture to where your neighbor is your play cousin.
Yeah.
And when you're talking to somebody that's from that area, your
family. Yeah.
You're really not sure if they're blood related or if they actually just live next door, or if they live 3 streets over, or if they were in first grade together. It really does intertwine. And that's why the traditions are so rich.
Yeah.
And so it's not a community that's saying we're not going to work, which tends to be a kind of a phase in a narrative that's been going around lately because of workforce problems. And even stereotypically, you think about, lower income Black communities, and you just assume that these people don't want to work. Yeah. And that the only things that they want to do is become a rapper, become a professional athlete, or join a gang. Yeah. That is not this community. No. This community is generally a beacon light in conjunction with Hamilton High School. But Young Dolph said that's not enough.
No, it's not enough.
He wanted to do more. And it reminded both Steven and I a lot of 50 Cent's book, Hustle Harder, in that it's a man who appreciates where he's from and yet knows he can't stay there.
But that's the thing that I don't know his circle. I'm not speaking of him, but that's something that you could tell he really struggled with because he kept coming back. Yeah. And he didn't need to come back, but he wanted to come back. And
physically coming
back. Not just sending a check. He kept physically coming back. And that's what you would hear from a lot of famous artists and people, is that once you make it out of a certain neighborhood, it could be a affluent neighborhood, or it could be a hood, whatever you want to call it, you don't go back. You make it and you leave, because not everybody wants to see you be successful.
Right.
But he kept coming back, and he kept giving back. And unfortunately, coming back is what got him killed.
Well, and here's another fantastic example, I think, is that Justin Timberlake is actually from Millington, Tennessee, which is not far from here.
Did you know that I sell makeup? Not only do I sell makeup, but the makeup that I sell is 3D makeup, which allows you to highlight and contour your face in a super simple compact. As a mom, I could not survive without my simplified routine. Not only that, but it's exactly what you need. Exactly when you need it, all in one spot. Go ahead and check out Alanna Mizell on Instagram or alannamizell.com to learn more.
And he really doesn't come back. Not from a communal standpoint.
No, he'll write a check.
But he'll write a check, he'll be at a Grizzlies game. That is not the same as going into a cookie store and giving out turkeys and telling everybody, hey, I'm going to be here and give out turkeys.
That's a fair assessment.
It's like the balance between, yes, you can give back, but my problem from an outsider looking in and being from New England, I guess what I don't understand is how he doesn't have more protection here. That's
the key with him. He chose not to. He chose to keep it authentic. And it's something that one of the other rappers he did a feature with in South Central LA, and he pulled up to that guy's his hood at the end of the day with no security.
Who did?
Young Dolph did. Like, he just came.
I thought you were talking about who he did it.
No, Young Dolph came to his area, did a song, and just kept it authentic. And so you have this whole struggle with, if you go back to the area you're from, the hood, the neighborhood, if you bring a security and you bring all these people around you, you are now saying to those people, don't come touch me. I'm invincible, or I'm going to do this. And that's something, again, I don't know if he has security, but from what I hear from the tweets, the messages, the comments, he always rolled by himself. And he might have had a buddy with him here and there, but you'll see other artists, like, they go anywhere, it's like massive security guards. And right now, I get it. It's crazy people out there, and I can't not say don't use security, because I know, for instance, Little Baby posted a picture a couple weeks ago. He went to Disney World with his family, and he had some, like, legit ex-military dudes that, you don't want to come close to his family. And I get that, because you want to try to enjoy Disney World, but you can't really, because you're a little baby with your family.
Right.
But that's something that is, it's kind of an unwritten code. Like,
but at the same time, Young Dolph posted on Twitter stating that he was battling anxiety.
Yeah, and so if you go to his Twitter, some of his last couple of tweets were him being 36 years old. And again, check the other podcasts out. But we talked about this before, being an African American male, just not knowing what it was, and he literally said, "I never knew what anxiety was until I talked to my doctor." Yeah. His next tweet was, "This man actually told me that I need to spend more time by myself and express my feelings." This is a rapper with almost 1 million followers, has 4 million followers on Instagram, crying out, saying it's okay to battle anxiety. It's okay to
and to not understand what anxiety is.
Yeah.
And yet, he turns to the one location that potentially could give him more anxiety. So, I think that this is also like a cyclical cycle for me, for you, is that when I'm anxious, I turn to the places that give me anxiety without realizing it, right? So I actually saw this recently is what is the one thing that you do that's detrimental to yourself? Like give you self-harm. So for me, I wall off to people. Mm-hmm. What's my love language, Steven?
Spending time with people.
Right. Irony right there.
Yeah.
So when I'm anxious, I wall off. But what actually gives me love and makes me feel love and worthy is the opposite love language.
So you're saying, I'm just like breaking this down. So realistically, the doctor, the person, Dolph was telling about, like, you need to get away and you need to be in a more peaceful state of mind.
He literally said, go be peaceful.
But
and he chose the opposite.
Because he thought that's what he really needed. But being in those areas is going to give him more anxiety. But he needed to be away. But he
would have been better off like Lil Baby going to Disney with the whole get up. So what is the one thing that you, Steven, do that is detrimental to yourself?
Ooh. I don't know. I would say probably eat.
Eat instead of feel.
Yeah, eat instead of feel. I can see that.
So eat your feelings.
Eat the feelings.
Right?
Yeah.
And what is your love language?
Like spending time and going out to eat.
No.
No.
So Steven is working on what's going on in his head. He hasn't had, 11 years of therapy like somebody else has.
11 years, but yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
I literally started therapy when I was super little.
Well, I get it, but like...
Anyway,
Rachel,
on and off. Rach. It's been
Rachel
a year
therapy.
and a half. We're talking about Rachel therapy.
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly. Okay, yes.
So I would say that when Steven is struggling, he tends to talk down to himself mentally.
I could kind of see that.
And what is your love language? Words of affirmation.
Well, love language, we can't stay on the mic.
Hey!
Okay.
That's quality time.
Quality time.
Quality, all capital letters.
Yes.
No.
Love some quality time. Okay, yes, I see what you're saying. I can see that you're red now.
So, of course I am. I'm bright red. So that's the same thing with Young Dolph, and I think that's the same thing that we've kind of learned through this podcast is that
go for it.
The healing isn't actually in what you feel instantly inclined to do. It's remembering what your real love language is.
Yes.
And doing that. Although I find that when I am the most broken, the last thing I want to do is be with people. But every time I end up going to coffee or go see a friend or go for a walk with somebody, I leave more recharged.
Yeah.
And I know that. It can be 30 minutes. And I know that when I leave, I will be recharged. Even when I'm with my kids. Spending 30 minutes, undivided time with them. Even though all I want to do is go sit in my room and read a book.
Yeah.
The book isn't going to recharge me the way that spending 30 minutes with somebody that I love will. Because my love language is quality time.
You're right. It's beautiful.
So.
I got nothing to say after that. That was beautiful. Episode 51.
51.
We appreciate you guys.
1. Yes, we are so grateful for you guys for listening. Whoever does listen.
Whoever listens. And also, feel free to always reach out to us if you guys need to have a conversation or talk to us. Let us know what's been your exciting part up to this one. you can and can't let us know. We'll be okay.
You can or can't. You know.
It's okay.
You
It's
do.
all right.
You know. That's from a movie. I can never remember.
All right, guys. We appreciate you.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
So if you guys are enjoying this, definitely leave us a review. Give us the feedback. If there's something you guys want us to talk about, reach out to us on our website at themizellshow.com. There is a contact section. You can put it in there. We would love to hear about it. Or you can always go over to Instagram at The Mizell Show. Also, as always, don't forget to screenshot this episode and just add it to your stories and tag us on Instagram, on Facebook at The Mizell Show. Thanks, guys. Are you loving The Mizell Show? Well, we love you all. And did you know that you can have me and Steven talk to your team or a group of 25 of your friends? All it takes is 25 people showing up on either a Zoom call, a Facebook Live, or really anywhere. Hopefully in person sooner rather than later. But how do you get us? So all you have to do is email themizellshow@gmail.com, or you can direct message us on Instagram at The Mizell Show.